And greetings, Internet, and welcome to another very special episode of My Cool Friends. We go live every Friday and Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are not available at either of those times, well, lucky you, because we have all of our episodes over on our YouTube channel. And for today's episode, we have a very, very special guest. He is a good friend of mine. I met this gentleman inside of Russell Brunson's 2 Comma Club coaching program. And in that, he is not only a very, very kind, very, very humble gentleman, he is a ecom genius. And with that, he went all the way to getting his very, very first 2 Comma Club award. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome, with homemade sound effects, Mr. Allan Woods.
Hey.
Allan, it is a pleasure to have you here.
Hey, Ben. Great to see you again.
It's great. It's been so long since I've been able to sit down and speak with you.
Indeed, it has. I think Nashville was probably the last time that we had an opportunity. So that's been almost a year ago now.
Yeah, it's almost a year. So
yeah,
absolutely a blessing to be in your company once again.
Well, thanks for inviting me on.
Mm-hmm. At anytime. Allan, I want to get straight into the question. You are like, whenever I have an ecom question or how to ship something, I have always gone to you. And so I want to ask you the big question, which is, how is it that you have taken your knowledge of selling online, selling physical products online, and then going straight into a 2 Comma Club award? Would you be able to enlighten us with that question?
Sure, I can do my best for that. It's certainly not a straight line from A to B, path that you can do in 30 days. You can do it. I could probably do it now in 30 days, but it took years of learning and education to kind of get to the point where I was able to succeed and do, the funnel that I got the 2 Comma Club award for is actually still running, and it's over $3 million now.
Wow.
So it's got longevity. It's got repeat customers. It's got a back end that's super solid. So how do you do it? The product is important, right? You have to identify a product that is a high perceived value product, that is desirable, that is mass appeal, and then you have to get kind of your 3 M's right. Your mind, your message, and your math all have to work together to maximize your conversions and optimize your back end and all of that, right? So when I talk about the kind of the 3 M's with that, the mind is really it's the psychology part of why the consumer would desire whatever it is that you're offering, what it is that you're selling, what is the big result that you're going to give them, what is your unique mechanism that makes it pretty much the only product on the market that is going to be able to deliver that result. And then the message is how we're communicating what that big promise is, what that big result is. And then the fun part is the math, right? So we drive some traffic to it, and then we look and we optimize and change and tweak headlines and tweak offers and do all of the math part to optimize it. For me, I think there's a million products out there that could easily be scaled to $1 million, right? I truly believe that. I don't think it's you don't have to find some golden egg, that is, okay, this is the one thing, right? If you set it up properly, you have the right messaging, you have the right, communication, and the right promise, and then your product's got to be good. I mean, it's got to deliver on what you say it's going to deliver, of course. You can take tons of products to $1 million. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So I think the secret sauce is really in the marketing. I don't really care what product I have. I mean, I'm not niche passionate. Like, I'm not, a fisherman. Like, I don't really care about selling. Like, I don't care what it is. Products that I sell are not something that is deeply passionate to me. I like them. I have to think they're cool at least, right?
Right.
I have to think they're good. I have to think they're valuable. But for me, my passion lies in the marketing behind it, right? How do we communicate, the big result? How do we get in the psychology of it? And then how do we do the math to optimize and make sure that we're able to scale it profitably? Now, that's the part I find fun.
That's fascinating. And I put this down in the comment section. Mind, message, mechanism, and math.
Yeah. That's it. You get those right, you can sell anything.
Fascinating. I'd love to touch base on the beginning part of what you touched on, because I've had guests previously on this show who have said like, oh yeah, I did my research on like something that was like what the market wanted, and like we found that these specific scarves were high in demand, and then we went on and like made those scarves or like sold those scarves. How do you find a particular product that may otherwise not have data out there quite yet, in order to sell it into a market that doesn't quite have any sort of math yet?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways. One way that works really, really well, especially if you don't have a lot of money to burn on ads to find out whether something works or not, right? If you're kind of just starting out and you don't have much budget as far as paid traffic goes, really one of the smartest things you can do is whatever product you're sort of thinking of selling anyway, scarves, start a Facebook group, start an Instagram community, start a TikTok, start something, right? Start gathering a community of people that you can kind of build. I got a friend of mine who he's from Boston, and he built a community called Purely Boston. It's 150,000 people or something like that, and they're super active. He posts in there all the time, just random pictures of the city and like different cool things. And you always got to build it and be engaged with that community. But then every once in a while he'll find a product, right? And he'll just like drop it in as no link or nothing, and be like, hey, would you guys buy this, right? And then depending on the number of people who come through and like, yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, I want that. Yeah, I want that. Right. If there's enough of them, he'll slap it on a Shopify store, drop a link in there and say, here you go. You said you wanted it. Order yours here. Right. Super great way to test like your idea of a product for low budget. Wow. Now you got to put time in, right? You got to build the community. All of that takes time. That's not like, you can't just do something overnight that way, but it's a very, very powerful way. It's a market first approach, right? Where, you're actually reaching out. You've got some community that's focused around some identity, right? Mm-hmm. Their geographical identity, some niche that they all like, whatever it happens to be. And then you just ask them, hey, what about this thing? I've got a whiskey and cigar group, right? And I've got this really cool lighter, would you guys buy this thing? And if enough people say yes, then just slap it on a Shopify store. Shopify is great because you can test the product in 5 minutes. You don't have to build out a full funnel for it, right? You'll probably end up wanting to build out a full funnel for it, right? Like you're going to run paid traffic to it and all of that. You want to optimize your cart values and your conversion rates and all that sort of stuff. But at first, you can just put it on a Shopify page and go. So that's one really solid way to do it. I'm a little lazy sometimes, often. And I will look at a couple of things. One of the things I look for is what's popular on affiliate networks, right? So there's all these other affiliate networks out there with like emailers and various publishers of, whatever, social media publishers and all this sort of thing. And they have these offers. And if an offer is really popular on some of the bigger networks, I may try to run it and sell it myself. So in a situation like that, I'll pick, and I actually have one that I'm going to launch this weekend that I'm excited about doing. And I'll just put it on a Shopify page. I won't build out a funnel. I mean, funnel will take me, I can build them quickly, but it'll still take 4 or 5 days to get right. I can put a Shopify listing up in 30 minutes, right? And then I'll probably just throw $50 at Facebook ads at it and see if there's any life. If there is life to it, then I'll spend the energy and time and effort to, optimize the product page, maybe build a funnel, worry about, I'll use a stupid, like simple image ad. And I'll just throw money at it. So that's the other way to do it.
What
faster.
What you're saying is quite fascinating, and more fascinating than I think you're giving it credit for.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, because you're saying that you're taking like these like tiny little products, and like, oh man, like, this might work in a funnel, this might work around a business, but I don't quite know yet. And you're just throwing it up on a Shopify store. It's like, and then like, oh hey, let's test $50 on a Facebook ad for this, and then that's how you test whether or not this product like can grow wings and fly.
Right, because that gets me to the math super fast, right? Like I can tell the click-through rate on the ads, or are people responding to this? Are they leaving comments? Are they getting to the web page? I can worry about the conversion stuff later, right? But I need to see that there's the interest in there, that enough people are like at least willing to look at and desire, whatever the item is, right? And then if there's the interest in the desire, then we can fix all the mechanics about how to optimize it later, So that's those are kind of ultimately either way that you do it, whether you build a group and kind of ask them their opinion, or you throw money at it, you're still asking the audience their opinion, right? It's just I didn't have to spend the time building the group. I just paid for the group, basically.
Yeah, it winds back to that. Oh man, like you got two roads. One's a lot of time. One's the money shortcut.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I will not. So like the product that I'm thinking of launching right now, I can source from my sourcing people in China. I could get them very, very cheap, like a couple of dollars. But I can also arbitrage them off of Amazon for like my margins will be less, but I could still make 50%. So the initial, like I'll launch it this weekend, throw a little bit of money at it. Say I get 5 orders or something, right? I'll make next to nothing on those 5 orders because I'm just going to fulfill them off of Amazon and just do it that way. But it's not about me making money at this point, right? It's about me knowing, should I even bother investing in buying this product, right? Is it worth purchasing inventory? I don't know. I had a friend of mine that, I'm talking like almost 2 months of research on looking at, various things to decide what he should sell and back and forth. And he finally decided, okay, this is what I'm going to offer. He purchased inventory for it. He bought a thermal printer. Oh, mine's over there. Label printer to print the shipping labels and all that, right? Got all the ShipStation stuff set up. Went as far as printing thank you card inserts to put inside the packaging for when the orders were shipping, hey, thanks for buying from us and blah, blah, blah. And then crickets, right? Nobody wanted the product. And, avoid that at all costs. Unless you're like the inventor of something you are so passionate about and believe in. But he was just trying to find a product that sells, right? So I'll arbitrage off of Amazon. I won't make much margin on it. Probably, if I'm lucky, I'll break even on the first 50 orders or whatever. And that's perfectly fine because that lets me know whether I should invest in the product or not.
And the key here, like you're not buying products from like like directly from the warehouse. Like you're buying products from Amazon.
Yep.
A place where anyone can go and get them.
And it's about your message. It's not about comparison shopping and offering the best deal. I don't compete on price. I try to bundle my offers, like, get 2 and get this extra thing free and make things that, you can't, that offer's not on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
And things like Facebook are interruption marketing, right? So they're not looking to buy your anything. They're looking to read their friends' happy birthday wishes and stuff. And then we hit them with an ad. And if it catches their eye and they're interested in it, they're not comparison shopping at that point. You can't gouge them. You can't make it unreasonable. You can't get, I can't sell you, whatever. I don't know, some little tchotchke thing. I can't charge you $100. So, you got to make it reasonable. But as long as it's kind of like mentally reasonable for the person, they're not going to go search for the best, right. They'll go search for the best deal.
We want speed more than we want convenience these days.
Yep. And I want speed in my business of speed to test the product, right? I want the ability to know quickly whether I should invest look, once we've identified a product that we're going to put our efforts and time into, there's a whole bunch of stuff on the back end that needs to happen for it to be profitable, right? So I need to know whether this product is worth getting to that part where I have to go spend now countless hours of energy, making sure all of my back end messages and all my follow-up stuff and all, everything that goes into it, do I, and then buy it and warehouse it and all the stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to know, is there enough interest in this to make it worth my time to take the next step to do all those official things? Because I'm not really a drop shipper. I've done drop shipping. I'm not against drop shipping. I've done it. It's like AliExpress, like drop shipping stuff from China, right? It's for me, it's okay, but customers are never happy, right? So your repeat customer rate is like 0, because they're waiting 4 or 5 weeks to get their item, so that's not the business I'm in. So I buy my own inventory, I warehouse it, I ship it out of Florida, and I've got live agent phone support, and all of those things are super important to the customer experience. And it needs to be that way when you're building, a product or a brand that you want to take. So that's a ton of energy, and I need to know quickly whether XYZ products, worth putting that time into.
Yeah. And so we talked about Facebook ads as a way to like test whether or not that product was actually worth it.
Yep.
Have you gained the knowledge of knowing how to run those Facebook ads, or have you outsourced that knowledge to another party?
I run all my own Facebook ads. I have tried 2 different agencies. I figured, we talk about the finding the who's to take things off of your plate. Reading Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week recently, and I've tried to get rid of that piece of the puzzle, and for me, it hasn't worked. Right? I run ads better than the agencies that I've used in the past. Not to say that, and I think it's because I'm so close and I know the product so intimately that my messaging, like, it's hard for somebody to compete who's an agency who's got 10 other clients and to put the time and what constant tweaks, the messaging and all that. They're kind of guessing at what it should be, and I know what it should be because it's my product, So it's not fair to say that, look, all agencies don't suck. I just happen to be better than they are at running my own products.
Tell us how you really feel, Allan.
I know, right? I'll try not to sugarcoat it. I've lost a lot of money, to be honest, letting other people run my ads. And look, I enjoy it. I'm a math guy. I'm a finance major. So it's, I like the math of the marketing, and then, Facebook is math, Google ads are math, Pinterest, Twitter ads, whatever you're running, it's all math. So I like that part of it. But, look, really, to be fair, yes, I run my own ads, and I think I have the big advantage because they're my products and I know them so well. Yeah.
So I'd love to know. So we've talked, like, this knowledge that you've dropped on us is like absolutely amazing.
Take it for granted.
I'd love to know, like, because obviously this didn't start off like this,
right?
So I'd love to know, like, no one just gets a 2 Comma Club award. Let's be fair about that.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know, like, was there a point in this journey where you thought that you simply thought about giving up?
No, and I'm sorry, but look, I've been flat broke. I've been behind on my mortgage. I've been credit card people calling, hating when the phone rang, didn't want to answer it, right? But I never wanted to give up during any of that, right? And I just I don't know whether that's the way I'm wired. I don't know whether. Here's the reality of it. You look around and there's a lot of successful people making a lot of money online, right? And I guess I've always refused to believe that I couldn't be one of those people. Right.
Wow.
So no, I never wanted to give up. Has it been rough? Has it been shitty? Yeah, it 100% has been. I closed down. I had a TV ad agency that I started in 03 and I shut the doors on it in 2016. I should have closed that business at least a year earlier, if not two. Prideful, my name's on the door. It provided for, my wife and I had 4 kids during the course of that business, and it provided for them. She got to stay at home and be a mom. So there was a lot of emotional investment into the business, but it was a television business, right? And it was, we did infomercials, we did direct response marketing. So it was all kind of the same as what I do right now, really, except we made half-hour infomercials. That business, I said I held on to it 2 years too long, and certainly a year, because it lost money. The last year and a half was draining money. Everything switched to the internet, right? I mean, it was super hard. It got really challenging for us to find clients.
What year is this?
I closed it in 2016. I probably should have closed it in 2014.
Okay.
Definitely in 2015, I should have closed it. Because by that time, to produce a half-hour infomercial, we were charging anywhere between $200,000 and $300,000 production, just script writing, production, all of that, right? So if you've got a product, Ben, you've got your brand new, and I see a whiteboard behind you. You've got a new automated whiteboard that is amazing and it revolutionizes the whiteboard industry, and you want to get out there and test your product. You're probably, back in the TV infomercial days, you're probably out of pocket $300,000 before you even know whether anybody's going to want to buy your amazing automated whiteboard, and so and now you could launch on the internet with a freaking iPhone video and you talk about how awesome it is, or do a Kickstarter, or there's a million ways to launch right now.
Do a Kickstarter for no dollars at all before you even made one.
Exactly. Kickstarter wasn't a thing back then, right? So getting clients just was like, it became really, it was basically, it was impossible. So we had our own, our little, the few clients that we did have kept dwindling, and I kept trying to hang on. And when I closed the business, I had a business partner in it, and my business partner ended up filing personal bankruptcy. I was too pig-headed and didn't, so I got straddled with that business had some debt. It had some old credit card debt, and it had some, there were some tax issues and whatever. And he managed to avoid all of that by claiming personal bankruptcy, and I refused to do that. Again, that's probably just a stubborn mistake, because I certainly could have avoided it. Avoided a lot of the, paying off that nasty stuff, but whatever. That's the path I chose. I'm perfectly comfortable with that path. I'm glad, that's the route I went. And that part sucked, right? I mean, that was miserable. And so that business is closing, and now I started selling some supplements and stuff online while that business was open, like kind of the last year or so, last 2 years of that business. I had a supplement manufacturer out of Santa Ana, California, who was friends with it, was kind enough to, he'd ship us like, joint supplements, and he had some, the Lean Miracle is what it was called, some diet pill stuff. And he sent it to us on consignment, so I could sell it without paying, and then I'd pay him after I sold it. So that was a really, that was a nice. Whatever. It was really generous and a nice thing that I just sort of happened to stumble into just as a relationship over time. But so that's kind of how I started on online marketing. And then I started drop shipping stuff, right? Like when that business was done and I was okay, the office is closed, the landlord kicked us out, and now I'm sitting here at this desk, and I'm got my little Shopify store, and I'm trying to pick winning products.
Wow.
The thing I can say is, I owned that direct response ad agency for, what is it, 03 to 16. So that's what, 13 years. And I crafted my marketing message teeth and how to communicate with the customers, because it was all direct response advertising, right? And that stuff translated to online pretty easily.
Wow.
So I was, I had 13 years of those skills built up,
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to dig myself out of it. And, did it take off? Did it get to $1 million right away? Absolutely not. I think what really made the big difference in getting to $1 million was investing in myself, joining 2CCX with you, right?
Yes.
Let's spend some money, man. Let's, throw Russell 30 grand and see what we can do. I'm in Trey Llewellyn's Commerce King coaching program.
Nice.
I need people who are ahead. Trey does 45 million a year. I'm not at 45 million, right? So let's get with the guy who is.
Right.
I'm a firm believer, a big believer in that. That's what helped me, get a 2 Comma Club award, was surrounding myself with people who had been there and done it before me.
Yeah. Something that I think we've been touching on throughout this entire conversation is that, we don't people don't often see like what's below, what's the bottom half of the iceberg. We only see like the tip. And I remember going through 2CC with you, and I had heard through the grapevine that you had gotten the award before you had publicly talked about it. I thought like, wow, that's incredible. Like how did he do that? And even I didn't know everything that you're telling us today about the bottom half of the iceberg, like all of that experience that you had prior to online, of like working in a much harder environment than we do now, that transitioned much smoother. And one thing that you touched on, your beginning journey, that was like, oh man, like we were so like, oh man, I was so stubborn, and then I came here, but you never thought of giving up. You never saw yourself as someone who couldn't be XYZ. And I think that was a big contributor to you being where you are today.
The common saying, and I know a lot of your viewers and listeners have I'm sure have heard it before, is don't quit before it happens, right? And that's I don't know whether that was a big fear thing for me, but you're one funnel away, right? Don't quit before the miracle happens. You never know exactly how close you are, and I've always. There's a certain amount of confidence that even in your darkest moments, look, I can figure this out. I can do this. Other people have done it, so let me, I can do it too.
Yeah. There was someone I was recently having a conversation with. I've been having so many of them, so I'm anonymous. Anonymous quoter.
Clubhouse problem,
Yeah, clubhouse problem is that. It's just hard. It's just hard. And so we come across difficulties, but we do hard things all the time. And so the fact that it's just hard shouldn't stop you from getting past that barrier.
Yeah, it's life, man. Life isn't easy. Life isn't, there's challenges and trials and tribulations and obstacles put in our way. The smart man will look at those and learn from them and get some lessons out of them. But the problem is there's going to be the next, there's a different problem up ahead,
More money,
I have very different problems right now where I'm striving for 10 million than I did striving for 1 million. There's still problems. They're still hard. They're different. That's all. And that's good. That's growth. That's, you got to look at that as a positive thing. I don't mind, look, nobody wants to get beaten down with obstacles, but at the same time, they're not always bad for you.
Yeah. Allan, we've had a wonderful conversation.
I'm sorry if I chatted too much. I got a little long-winded.
You have don't apologize. This has been a magical conversation that has helped out so many people. Allan, where can people find you?
On the internet. So I've got if you have any questions about scaling an e-commerce brand, growing your e-commerce brand, how to even begin with an e-commerce brand, you can find me workwithwoods.com. There's some link I shared with you, Ben. Maybe you can put it in a comment or something, where I kind of flesh out the mind, message, and math concept a little bit more. If you want to take a look and read a little bit of that, it's kind of like a blog post that you guys can check out. There is an opt-in field on the bottom of that message, or just workwithwoods.com. And if you want to give me your name and email, I'd be happy to, whatever, Messenger, Zoom, chat, telephone, if there's any way that I can help you take a couple steps closer to your goal, I'm all for it.
That link has just been shared in the comment section for all of our live viewers, as well as for if you are on the lovely replay and you are on YouTube. First of all, hi. Second of all, that link is also down in the description of the video, so it is easy to find for all of you lovely people out there of the internet. Allan, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for your time on this Friday night, my friend.
You are welcome back anytime on the show.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for another very special episode of My Cool Friends. We will be back next Tuesday for another very special guest at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For now, I am your host. My name is Ben Ebig. This is our very special guest, Allan Woods. Until then, have a very safe and very happy weekend.